Good afternoon and welcome to my studio. This is Sheila with Stamping Wishes, and I'm coming to you on a Tuesday afternoon. This is one of the cards that we're going to be making for this month's class, and so I wanted to go ahead and do a film on it, and that way the ladies coming to the class will have a chance to kind of glance at it and know what we're doing before class and be able to jump in and get started on it. Alright, so to make this card, let's go ahead and set it aside. This is the inside of the card, by the way. Let's get it open here. It says Best Wishes. I always like having my birthday cards handy. Always have friends with birthdays. We're going to be using the Best Wishes from the Cottage Rose. Love this set. And then we're going to be using the Happy Birthday, and we'll do a masking technique with this so we can use both of the words on different areas. We're going to use the floral design. We're going to use this little filigree design here up underneath the Best Wishes. And then we're going to be using the scallop, which we use the, the scallop contour dies. We use the third one from the outside, or the third one from the inside, either way that you're looking at it. Alright, for today's card you're going to need these particular pieces. You're going to need this basic white that's cut at 2.5 by 3 7/8. You're going to need a piece of the Starry Sky, which is one of our new colors, at 3 1/8 by 5.5. You'll need another piece of basic white, and it's cut at 3 1/4 by 3 3/4. We're using our in color DSP, which is the Starry Sky. It's got two sides, really cute on either one. We may use this one just for something different from the other card. And then we have our card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4, and I've already done the scoring on that. Then we're going to have, and I'll go ahead and we're going to stamp, I think, the outside design first, because we'll need not to have the mat for it, and then we'll need the mat for the other stamping that we'll be doing. So let's go ahead for the items that we don't need the mat for. Let's go ahead and get those stamped. I did take a scrap left over of the DSP, and this is cut at 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so let's bring our stamparatus over, and we'll go ahead and get our floral design stamped first, since it's the largest of the stamps. And we'll come in at this corner, since we're not doing the birthday portion of it just yet. And we'll put one of our other magnets. Where did I put it? There it is, at this side. Let's go ahead and get our floral design out. As y'all know, we're in celebration mode for the rest of this month. So if you have not taken advantage of that, please do. There's so many beautiful items, and they've added some new items into the list. And I just said that backwards on this. Excuse me. Alright, let's bring this mat back in. I'm thinking backwards on this. Right now I'm thinking of the other stamps that we'll be using, which will not need the extra padding. With your photopolymer stamps, you always need this extra padding up underneath it for the best stamping on the cardstock, for it to absorb and stamp solidly. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll stamp up bring over a little block to help hold that up. Makes it easier for stamping. But this month, as I was saying before, is the last month we have for our celebrations, and the new list of items have been brought out for everybody's selection, and they have many items. For if you make a purchase of $50 or more, you will be able to choose something in that listing from that price range. And they also, isn't that gorgeous? Came out beautiful. So let's go ahead and wipe that off, and then we'll set that piece aside while we work on our other pieces. Okay. Now let's pull this off and set it back. Okay, from this one we need still our birthday wishes. So let's go ahead and our happy birthday. So let's go ahead and bring it out. And what I was talking about when you're masking, you want whatever area you don't want ink to get onto when you're doing a piece like this. I didn't get it quite long enough. Let's bring another little piece in there. You want to mask over it and make sure that your upper stamp, that your image that you're wanting to use, is not covered by this, okay? And I'm going to set it in the position that we're going to want to use it. And we're going to use Happy Birthday at this corner, okay? And we'll bring this over. And now I'm going to ink it. And I'm not sure, let me see. No, you can't. Let me bring it over where you can see what I'm doing here. Yes, I think you can see it now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and ink the stamp. And after I'm comfortable that there's enough ink on the upper stamp, and I know that these stamparatus are designed not to release any of the ink that's on the this piece here, but it makes me nervous to have any loose ink around. I don't want my masterpieces to be disturbed. So let's go ahead and I'm removing the tape now. I'm going to go down into the position that I had the Happy Birthday. Hold it so that the ink can transfer to the paper. And see, beautiful. We got our happy without the birthday yet. Let's straighten this up here. We're repositioning this anyway, so it won't matter if that's not in the same position it was before, because now we're going to cover the happy so that we can stamp the birthday. Dry that off. So let's go ahead and bring another piece of tape out, and this time we're covering the happy. Okay, so then we will bring our ink over. We want to make sure that the ink is very well onto the birthday, off any excess, and now we're ready to put this down. Oh no, we're not. I did not position that. See, this is why it's good to have your cleaning cloths handy, because it's easy to get carried away, especially when you're trying to talk and design at the same time. It makes it a little difficult sometimes. Okay, we're going to want the birthday position there, so let's go ahead and bring that there. Bring the tape back. Retape that. Now we're going to do our birthday stamp again. Alright. Move any excess ink along with this piece of tape, and let's see if I can. Right, so now let's go ahead and bring it into the position that I had it. Drop this down. Isn't that gorgeous? You would have thought that I had two different stamps, but that's the trick of using the masking. Alright, the other piece that we had using this little pad here, I'm going to go ahead. Usually I like to stamp any kind of design after where I put my greeting, but I think we'll do that next so I don't have to switch back out again. And then after I put it there, then we can line up the greeting according to where we need it to be. So let's go ahead and bring in this piece of the basic white. And I'm going to guess my greeting will be somewhere, and I can go ahead and put it there to get an idea, even though I won't stamp it at the same time because there are different stamp levels to this one. This is one of our stamps that already has its cushioning on it, whereas this one, well, if it'll let go of me, just enough of the edging there to want to catch on to me. So I would like to bring this down probably about like so. That looks good. Okay, so I'll move this out of the way. Add a little bit of ink here. right, so let's go ahead and move that off. And then we'll remove the padding for the next type of stamp. And because these photopolymers are clear and so easy for them to stick to something else, I always like to put them back as soon as I use it. Sometimes I have a little container that it's like a magnet container that I like to have out. And that way I don't lose them either, because we have in my classes before, no fault of anybody's, but when using it, they'll have something close by it and they will stick to it and we lose stamps that way, or they'll find them when they get home. So hopefully, if we're just careful with them and recheck for our stamps and their setting before everybody leaves, that doesn't happen. Alright, that looks good, so let's go ahead and stamp this now. And again, we're using the Best Wishes, and this comes from the Cottage Rose, whereas the other stamps came from Lovely and Lasting. Beautiful. Okay, let's go ahead and move this off, and we'll put it together a little bit later. I want to give it time to dry. And let's just set this aside for right now. That ink off of there. Alright, we're ready to go ahead and put this stamp together. Do stay for the end of the film. I'm going to show another little tidbit at the end of this film as well, as I did the one from this weekend. And that one's the one I'm going to be showing you is cutting paper and scoring it so that you get a couple of cards at the same time, and it just saves time. Alright, so let's go ahead and put this together real quick. Alright, let's put our layers on. What do you think? Redo one like that, or let's do it this way? Well, let's look and see if this looks too busy. I don't think so. I like it. Okay, especially since it's going to have layers. So let's try something a little different from the one before. I love polka dots, so it's always hard for me to give up my polka dots, but let's try. I do like plaids as well. Put that layer on. Now we're going to go ahead and place this layer onto the white. No, we are not, because I used dimensionals on that. Let me think. Yeah, I did use dimensionals on that, so let's just hold off and put the white on. Alright, so we want to get this in the center. There we go. And now this one. And on the first one, you remember, I did use one of our blends, the Daffodil Delight, the dark one, to do the center of it. And this time, I decided I'm going to leave the Daffodil Delight off of it, just to give it a different look. A little bit what I call a clean look, not a lot of extras on it. And while I have it here, I'm going to go ahead and use my Winkostella. Gotta have Winkostella to me on just all of my florals. I just absolutely love Winkostella. It's used on most of my cards. But I'm just going over the blue. I want to accent that blue area and leave the white. Alright, since we're going to be using dimensionals on that, that's why I brought in my mat, my silicone mat, is because I accidentally did put some, before I was ready for it, I put some adhesive, which we did not want to put down since I'm going to be using dimensionals, but it's okay because the dimensionals are going to take over. And you can never use too many. You don't want your card, number one, of course, to come apart, but also when you have a larger area like this, you don't want somebody touching it and then it folding in on it. So you want to take and put as many dimensionals as you can. Stamping up makes them very economical, and you can get so many different you can get your two different colors and your two different sizes now. You can get black or you can get white. You have your minis and then your regular. So I just love my dimensionals. Okay, let's go ahead and put that down. Then I used a white gel pen. We used to sell these at Stampin' Up. We don't anymore. We do have a chalk marker, but I don't find sometimes the chalk marker is great for certain techniques, but I prefer a gel pen, and I'm skipping that corner one because we really don't need it with using our rhinestones here in a minute. But I like using the gel pen because for me, it's a little bit brighter than the chalk marker. I think they both have their own purpose. Almost tried to put it there again. So I don't know if y'all are in Texas, but some of you that are in the Texas area, you probably understand how hot we've been, how hot and dry. I know some of our family from the Louisiana area, they've been getting some probably more rain than they want, but we sure could use some of that down here. Alright, so let's decorate it with, let's go with a little bit bigger of the rhinestones here, since we've got some big corners. You can never have too much bling on your card. Alright, beautiful. Alright, so let's finish up the inside and we will be done. We'll have a wrap on this card. And as you can see, it's very, very easy to do. Let's go ahead and bring our silicone mat back over. And since we're using the plaids, and if you want to, you could use your liquid glue on here as well, on this little piece. And it does have a tendency to want to, when you use the tape runner, because it's a little wider than the piece that I'm using here, it does have a tendency to want to, leave some of the adhesive, and I just take and roll it off. I have a glue eraser, it's just not handy to me right now, but that's normally what I would use. So now go ahead and put your adhesive on this piece. And I love our Stampin' Seal. Alright, so let's go ahead and put this in here. Beautiful. And we have our card. Thank you for joining me. Oh, yes, I said I would do a tidbit. Let's do that real quick. I almost went off without doing this. When I'm doing multiple cards, especially for my prepping for my classes and stuff, I like to do my cards all at one time, prep them. And so what I do to get two card backings at the same time, I line this regular basic white 8.5 by 11. I line it up at 4 1/4, and I do my score line. Then I turn around and cut it at 5 1/2. And now I have two cardstocks ready for class and ready to go. Okay? So until next time, have a blessed day and happy stamping.